Hello, and welcome to the Stitching Over the Days podcast. This is episode 20. Wow, I can't believe we made it that far. I want to thank any new viewers and also any returning viewers for taking a moment out of your day to hear all about my sewing, knitting, crochet adventures. And I just want to say thank you again. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as cleocmc, that's cleocmc, and I also recently started a Ravelry group, and it's been quite fun. We've been having conversations about a little of everything, patterns on our radar, even great mystery shows, and yeah, just a little touch of everything. That's been really fun, and I've been quite enjoying it. So if you want to join in on that, the Ravelry group is Stitching Over the Days. I think it's Stitching Over the Days. I don't think I put podcasts on the end. Yeah, so check out Stitching Over the Days. And I also have a blog where I keep the show notes, yarningoverthedays.wordpress.com. So I am excited about today's episode and what I have to share with you and what's currently on my hooks and needles and even my sewing plans for the summer and the warmer months. So we're going to get started. I do want to say that this is a crafting journey. I think my headline is taking it day by day and stitch by stitch. So I am by no means an expert. These are I just like talking it out and sharing with you the things that went well, the things that didn't go so well, how I made adjustments and tweaked. But I want to say that my way of doing things is definitely not the end all be all. There's so much support and other resources out there, and I'm still learning, and I think we all are still learning in this crafting life. So I want to start with my finished objects. I figured when I was thinking about the last episode that I may have a finished object to share with you, but I'm surprised that I have two finished objects to share with you, and so we'll get started. In the previous episode, I was talking about, I think that one of my works in progress was the Water Clover top from the latest issue of Pom Pom Quarterly. This issue here, and this pattern. It's a very beautiful crochet top. As soon as they started showing sneak peeks and previews of the top, I just loved it. I think I've said it before, but I think this issue is quite beautiful, and it features quite a bit of crochet and also really nice knitting patterns, and I see myself making about 3 or 4 of the designs in this issue alone. So scoop up a copy if you like crochet and knit. But even if you don't like one or the other, I think that they have a good balance of both. I do want to say that I live in downtown Columbia, South Carolina, and today they're having the St. Patrick's Day celebration, and so you might hear a bit of noise in the back. And this was the only day I could record because I've been, as I've stated before, I'm a student and I've been writing my chapters, and so I've just been in the library constantly living in there, but I've been making really good progress, and I'm so happy about that. Oh my goodness, I'm getting distracted from talking about the Water Clover top, but I'll say that today was the only day that I could record because the library, even though it was open during spring break, they had kind of like they adjusted their hours and they shortened the hours, and then they also closed on Saturday, and so I'm here at the house. And of course, I'm still planning to get some writing done here at the house later on this evening, but I find that I can't concentrate as much here in my place. And also, it's just nice being in the library when I need like an additional resource or a book. I could quickly get to it. But I did print off some articles that I want to include, so I could do that tonight while I'm maybe playing a movie or something in the background. So, yeah, maybe it's a good thing that they closed and also had to shorten hours, because I tend to get so immersed in my work that I don't really come up for air. And my mom, she's always like reprimanding me because she knows when I start working, I just can't, I don't want to say I can't, I don't like to even break for lunch. Like, I don't like, because as soon as I feel like I take a break, I get distracted. And so I just want to keep that flow. And so my mom was like, I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're eating your meals, because I am known to miss meals, and that's not good. So I actually bought some bread from the bakery. And so I've just been taking bread and goat cheese with me while I've been at the library. And I have it pretty much just next to my books and things. And I have been making sure to include that. But that's probably not the most balanced meal. And so I'm trying to do better, because I did that a lot during my master's program. And I did, it did adversely, well, I don't want to say that, it affected my health significantly. And so, and I've been getting better, but I need to do better. Yes, we have to take care of ourselves. Self-care is very important. And I know that, but I still fail to do it. Yeah, so back to the water clover top. And the yarn was Kelborn Woolens Mojave. This was the recommended yarn. And the color is mauve. And I think it's quite beautiful, and it is finished. And the pattern worked quite easily. And, well, I'm not going to say like easily, but I'll say very quickly. Like, once you got into the rhythm and you figured out the pattern, the thing about crochet is you could pretty much see what you're doing, and you could see where the clovers should go and how things should go. And of course, every now and then I may miss a double crochet on one row, but the good thing about crochet is that you can usually catch that mistake on the next row, and it's easy to rip back and fix it. So when I first was working with the yarn, I even stated in the previous episode, I found it to be quite tough. And so I was just really ready to block it and wash it, because this is a linen and cotton blend. And I was ready to block it and wash it so it could get that drape that I was thinking it would have. And let me see. I didn't know they were going to be playing music also. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't think I would just hear it. So I apologize if you hear the noise in the background. Yeah. But so I used the yarn, and it did bloom more once I blocked it. But I'm going to let you know, I blocked this garment 3 times. Yeah, so let's get into why. When I first off, I always say do a gauge swatch, and I've said that in the past, but I was just so excited for this pattern, and I paid for it by not doing a gauge swatch. I think that the hook size is too small. I don't even think that is supposed to be the hook size. I wonder if that is an error in the pattern, because quite a few other crafter knitters or crocheters, I don't know what to call, ravelers, I don't know. A lot of other people who are creating this pattern, they stated that they did not get gauge with the hook. But you know, I didn't do a gauge swatch. I just went in and just started crocheting, and it looked small, like when I was making it, but then I was like, no, linen and cotton tends to grow. But then I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't think it's gonna grow that much. And so I pressed through, and I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna continue working with this 1.5 millimeter hook. And so I finished the top in less than a week. It worked up really, really quickly for me. I forgot how quickly crochet works up. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to, when I did the edging on the neckline and the arms, I was like, I am not going to use a 1.5 millimeter hook, because that's too small. And so I went up to a 2.5 millimeter. The details are on my Ravelry page. I'm just going from my memory right now. And for the edging for the neck and the armholes. And then when I blocked it, and I did my typical blocking method of I soaked it, and then I used Kristen Amdahl's Rapture which is similar to any soaking solution we use when blocking our products with knitting. And so I used her solution and I blocked it, and then I pulled it out. And it did grow, but it didn't grow as much as I wanted it to. Oh, I think I even have my notes. I just see it here because I wanted to do a comparison. Okay, so pre-block, the armhole depth was 4 inches. And then when I, after blocking it, it was 5 inches. And this was with me really stretching it. And that 5-inch armhole depth was still shorter than what was required by the schematics of the pattern, which is 5 3/4 of an inch. The body before blocking it was 7 1/4 inch. Post blocking, it did grow to 9.5 inches. The length, the entire length of the garment from the shoulder, including the body, was 12 inches before blocking, and post blocking it was 16 inches, which is good. Because I felt, because my preferred length of sweaters is 17 inches. And the bottom, the little width across, was 14.5 inches, and it grew just a little to 14 3/4 of an inch after blocking. So I thought, okay, it should be all right. And I tried it on, and it was all right. And so I still wasn't pleased with the drape of the garment. I thought it was going to really just be just a bit more drapey than what it was. And so I thought, oh, you know. So I put the garment on, and I paired it with one of my Hollyburn skirts. And I shared this in a previous episode, I'm not sure. But if you look closely, I just love this skirt. It's like it was made for the top. Because if you look closely at the flowers, it has that same mauve color in the flowers. So I paired it with the skirt and put a black cami top within. I took pictures, and the pictures turned out lovely. But when I was taking the pictures, when I was walking around the house in the top with the skirt, I found myself just tugging it. It just wasn't what I envisioned. I envisioned this like carefree, flowy top. Like the model's view, it looks a bit more flowy than what I was experiencing. And so I was like, well, maybe I should throw it in the washing machine. So I threw it in the washing machine. I started reading articles on it. And I even found the article on Quince & Company, but they were talking about their linen yarn. And they said that it will blossom and grow with blocking. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. But then I Googled some more things, and then I read articles that said you shouldn't throw linen in the dryer because it may shrink. And I was like, oh, I don't need it to shrink because I'm trying to get more drape to it. So I pulled it out the washing machine, and I blocked it again. And so then I went to knit night. I've been going to knit night at Luna Lola Yarn Shop. Luna Lola Yarn Shop here in Columbia, South Carolina. And it's been simply amazing. It's been so much fun. And there's a lady in the group, and oh, I just love her advice and her knowledge. And I think that she has been knitting for a very long time. She said she was taught by her mother, and she's originally from Denmark. And I visited there a few years ago for 2.5 weeks. And so, yeah, she's just told me that when she worked with the linen, she would throw it in the dryer. And I told her, I read an article, I was nervous about throwing it in the dryer. And then she was just like, just give it a go, just do it. Because, you know, what's the worst that can happen, you know? I can make adjustments, or I can make another. And I was like, that is true. And so I was like, I'm going to do that. And so I like her positive attitude and approach towards knitting, because, you know, I just could be so, like, I think dramatic in terms of like, oh no, you know, it's ruined, I don't know what to do, you know. And so I was like, I'm going to try that. And she told me to bring it to the next knit night so she could look at it, but I forgot because I was rushing that day, and that was in the middle of my writing. And even though I was writing, I really wanted to go to the knit night, so I wasn't able to pack up the top to show her, and so I just brought my current works in progress. But back to the top. So I brought it home. I mean, after the second blocking, when I pulled it out of the washing machine, I tried it on. And I still felt myself tugging at it and just trying to make adjustments. And I was like, what is the problem? Like, I like it, but something is holding me back from loving it. And there was this show me and my sister April used to binge watch. This was before the days of Netflix. And so there's this channel called TLC, and they would show episode after episode after episode of this show called What Not to Wear. And on the show, there's this lady who I just considered a fashion icon. I don't know what she's doing now, but her name was Stacey London, if I'm not mistaken. If you watch the show, let me know. But Stacey, she always had this advice that just stuck with me. And she said, you never want to wear clothes that you're always tugging and pulling at and trying to make adjustments, because she said it kind of screams that you're uncomfortable in your outfit, and then, you know, it just takes away from the outfit. And I was like, well, I be doing this every time I wear this water clover top. Well, I constantly tug at it and I make adjustments. And so I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. So sometimes it's good to just take a time out and think about it. So I stepped away from it. And then it came to me that I can just add length, but use a larger hook. But mind you, the pattern was worked from the bottom up. And so I was like, but I really think that because that pattern was now intuitive for me, I was like, I think that I could still just join in the crochet hook and work into that foundational chain. And I did that using that larger hook. I went up to a 2.10 millimeter because I was hoping that the top fit very closely and nicely, and I was hoping that with that larger hook it would flow out a bit more. And then I had to make sure to start in the middle of the pattern repeat, not starting from the beginning, because as you can see, the clovers are staggered by row. And if I had to start it at the beginning, then it would have been directly under the clovers. And while I was at it, I was like, you know, they have these beautiful shells within the pattern. And I was thinking that it would be nice to add some beads to the top. And I actually had some beads that I found at Joann's. They were having it 50% off. So the beads were $3.99, but 50% off, that was like $4. So I purchased these. And I think it matched the color quite nicely. At first I was going to just randomly pull the beads from the pack and strand them onto the yarn and then just go. But then I changed my mind and I actually chose the different beads because they're similar colors but they're different. And so I kind of alternated with the beads, which only I can tell because it's very similar color. And because I was joining that bead in the middle of the shell, I didn't do the 5 double crochets within the shell. I did only 4 within that. So I did 2 double crochet, added a bead, then did 2 double crochet. Oh, I feel like I've been talking forever about this top. And also yeah, so long story short, I added the length with the larger hook. I tried it on that night. I was like, oh, and then I was like, yes, it's coming. The vision that I had is coming into fruition. And so, of course, because I had already blocked this twice, then the yarn was getting softer. But that new yarn, of course, was had that original tough feel. So I threw it back into the wash, and I pulled it out. And I did not throw it in the dryer. I was like, no, I would want to block it again. And then from here on out, I would throw it in the dryer. So I blocked it again. And the length was increased to 17 inches, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't measure it. And then I was like, yes, finally, this is the top that I love. And so I shared at the... I was talking with Karen about the adjustments during the knit night, and also Lakita, and I was just telling them how I just wasn't really happy about the garment, but now I just love it. And they were saying that with the new adjustments, the top now had a more elegant feel and it was quite fancy. Karen said, but I was telling her, I was like, yeah, that is true. It can be dressed up a bit more now. But I tried it on with my high-waist jean shorts, And I thought it looked really, really nice casual also. And I told her it might look good with jeans and even just a pair of Keds. I just think it's a really versatile top. And it matches so many things in my wardrobe because I do this thing when I'm happy with the garment. I start trying it on with different clothes and outfits. And then I tried it on with my other Holly Barn skirt. I brought it here so because you probably don't remember. And this was a fabric that my sister April purchased for me. And I just think it screams summer and spring. It's just really heavy. And so it's hard to show it together, but it looks really, really good together. So I'm going to a wedding in May in Alabama, and I anticipate that it will be hot. And I'm thinking about wearing this if I don't make a dress. I think that'll be quite nice and lovely, but I don't know. Yeah, I am still on the fence, and I might change my mind. So that is the water clover top. I did record some footage of me in the original top. I wasn't sure if I should share it since I made the changes, but maybe you would want to see a comparison. So I may include that footage of the shortened top along with the images of the shorter version of the top. And then I'll include the footage of the longer top along with the images of the adjusted version. I would like to try to add some music along with it because I just feel like I'm in this silent space and then you just see me twirling around. But when I tried to add the music last time to the footage, it really just it was just too loud and it kind of blew out the music, and I was just like, it was just too much trouble for what it's worth. So yeah, so just take a moment and view the footage of the garment being worn. Okay, so in the last episode, I was sharing with you a shawl that I was creating called the 3S shawl, and I was creating it using the Hedgehog Fibers Salty Lakes colorway that I purchased from the Luna Lola yarn shop. And I share with you that I always wanted to try Hedgehog Fibers yarn. I saw so many beautiful and gorgeous projects created by so many knitters and also people who crochet, and they were just stunning. And so I was happy to finally get my hands on that fiber. And so originally, as soon as I saw the socks, I wanted them to be Hermione's everyday socks. That's a pattern I always wanted to try, but for some reason I just never got to it. And so I feel like I'm going the long way around the story to get to sharing this finished object, but I'm just gonna go with it. And so I purchased the yarn, but then someone said on Instagram that it was too nice to be a pair of socks and I should make a shawl. And I did start making a shawl, but then I realized I was bored with it, as I told you all, and many of you chimed in. I was like, I need to go back to the original plan and make the socks because, you know, that's what I wanted to do. And why not have my feet feel really nice and cozy and luxurious? So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do that. So Was it last Saturday? Yes, last Saturday I ripped back the shawl. No, it wasn't last Saturday. It was 2 Saturdays ago. Yeah, because I didn't do much crafting last Saturday, I don't think. Anyway, I ripped back the shawl, and I was like, I'm going back to the game plan, and I'm going to make the Hermione's Everyday Socks. So this past Saturday, yeah, I think it was this past Saturday, I cast on for the Hermione's Everyday Socks. So I'm just knitting away, and then I'm not going crazy, but there's this one sock that I share. Oh my goodness, I had to look. I shared this finished sock because I had to go back some episodes to see when I shared that finished sock. And I think it was in February of 2017. You know what? I actually put it on my Instagram. So I finished just one sock. And my reason for creating this pattern was so I cast on in April 2017, and I finished one of the socks in February of 2018, and then I finished other socks. So that's why I'm getting to share in 2019. So while I was just knitting away on my Hermione's Everyday Sock, that one sock that I finished, it was on the shelf. It was just staring at me like, oh, you're so wrong. You're just going to start a fresh new pair of socks while I don't even have a mate here. I'm just sitting here all by my lonesome. And I was like, oh. And then I started to feel guilty. I was like, I'm just going to finish this up. And then I'll pick the Hermione's Everyday Socks back up. So that's how it came to finish a pair of socks. That was such a long story. I'm sorry. So these are the socks. And I quite like them. I like them a lot. And I actually didn't even create a Ravelry page until I finished, was close to finishing these socks, because my purpose for creating these socks was simply, it was just a test. Because I read that I had purchased some Knit Picks palette yarn, and I like to read descriptions of yarns. I'm sure a lot of you all may do the same thing. And so while I was on their website, they said that Knit Picks palette could also be used for durable socks. And I was like, oh, but it's 100% wool, and it's no nylon in this in the fiber, which is, I've never made socks without nylon. And I was like, I'm sure that people of the past probably have 100% wool socks, so why wouldn't it work? So so that's why I cast on the socks, simply to see how the fit would be. Okay, I pulled up a description on Knit Picks palette and yarn, and they said this yarn is designed especially for fair out and color work, which is what I was purchasing the yarn for. You'll find hues that span the entire gradated wheel, including supporting neutrals and a full complement of heathers. Consider palette for warm and durable socks. That's what it said. Slim fitted sweaters or felted items galore. It'll quickly find a permanent place in your stash. And so I was like, socks? Let's try it out. Why not? I purchased the yarn for $2 per skein. So these socks cost me a grand total of $4. Well, not even that, because I didn't use the full 2 skeins, just a little bit of it. So then I really like this pattern in their Socktacular book, which is from the Knit Picks design team. And I already created a pair of socks from the book. So I was really attracted to the 4-leaf clover socks. And they had that really beautiful peacoat cuff at the top, but I decided to do a twisted rib. And so I cast on 64 stitches, but I went down significantly 2 needle sizes because I wanted to get a tighter fit, because sometimes the 64 I found fits a bit loosely, not too loose, but a bit more loosely than like casting on. I think 56 is what I usually do, or I like to do for the socks. So I did that, and I did the twisted rib, and I like, of course, that the twisted rib, when you go through the back loop of both stitches, it draws it in. So that's a really nice cuff that fits really nicely. So I did that, and I'm trying to think, did I make any adjustments? The setup of the book is that you could choose the heel method that you would like to create. So probably snoring. And so I went for a gusset heel, and also they had this, you could choose the type of toe that you wanted to create. Instead of going for the standard toe, I went for the swirl toe, which I don't know if you can tell, but the swirl toe does not involve any grafting. So I guess that's a perk, and it fits nicely, but I felt like it went by longer, or it took longer. I don't know. It's been a while since I've created socks, about a year or so, and so I can't remember. I'll remember, of course, when I do the toe on my Hermione's everyday socks. But anyway, I actually wore the socks the next day. That's the thing I love about socks. They dry so quickly. And so I wore them the next day with a pair of my navy blue loafers. And they felt so good, you guys. And I also found that with blocking, when I tried it on, of course we all know blocking makes the project grow. And when I tried them on, I remember when I tried that first sock on, I was at home, and my dad was like, "Did you make the right size?" And so he thought that they looked tight. But when I actually blocked them, I just went on the sock blockers, and also as I wore them during the day, they didn't grow like significantly in terms of like they're drooping or falling, but they definitely grew, and they fit really, really great. The fit is just really awesome, and I like them. Now, I don't know how these are going to hold up, and I'm going to have to report back, and I will report back. So maybe after wearing them for a while, and I'll be probably wearing them in the summer with my tennis shoes and stuff, and also my loafers, especially in the spring, because I'm now transitioning from wearing tights every day to wearing the socks with the my dresses. I'll let you know how they hold up. Someone told me on Instagram that she made a pair of mittens with Knit Pest palette, and she said they did wear. So I don't know. I didn't get any wear the first day. As I stated, I wore them the first day, and you see that there's no peeling or anything. So we shall see. So that is it for the finished objects. I think I shared all of the modifications for those socks, but you can check my Ravelry page if you just want further details. Oh, the yarn is Knit Pest palette, but the color is Cotton Candy, and yes, I like that color a lot. When I make things, I tend to think of characters or people that would like those. I even stated on my Instagram that I think Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter would like those. I mean, she was all about the pink and the pristiness, and yeah, that looked like something right up her alley. And a few people agreed with me, so I named those socks my Dolores socks. Definitely not a favorite character of mine in Harry Potter, but I do love her pink. We do have that in common. Okay, let's get into the works in progress. I've been talking for quite a bit, but I did anticipate the water clover top taking a bit of time to explain, and I hope I explained it well. Let me know if you have any questions or anything. So now we'll move into works in progress. You guys, I've been working on my Battenberg blanket. I did an update on my Instagram, but I made significant progress even since then. And last night I worked on it. I'm just gonna be honest. Yesterday was just a pretty tough day for me, and when things don't go my way and things happen, I tend to get a bit overwhelmed and frustrated, and I try to cope, but then I'll either end up calling my mom or someone, you know, just to get it off my chest. And my mom, I consider her definitely one of the strongest women in my life. I'm surrounded by quite a few strong women, and I just feel like I'm definitely not on that level. And she's not like being mean and reprimanding me, but she's just like, when I get overwhelmed by these things, she's like, I don't know where you get this from. I don't know where you get this from. And I don't either. You know, it's just, yeah. So why am I talking about being overwhelmed emotionally? Well, because I finally calmed down and I found the Battenberg blanket, working on it to be very therapeutic, to be very calming, to be very just quite enjoyable. You know how there are foods called comfort foods, you know, that make you think of home, that bring a sense of peace in your life? Like for me, maybe field peas and rice with cornbread. For some people, it's shepherd's pie. But yeah, those foods that just kind of, they're therapeutic also. Well, that's what I'm finding this blanket to be. So I came home and finally, after just, you know, winding down, I didn't want to work on anything that, you know, my mind just wasn't down for it. And so, mind you, I had been writing consistently for 9 hours that day. So my mind was exhausted. But I still wanted something to do with my hands, something to just help me just relax a bit further. And I did that. I started joining squares on my Battenberg blanket. I think I shared in the previous episode that my goal was to do 100 squares a month. And I counted my squares, and I'm at 101. I haven't joined all 101 into the blanket. I think I've joined 74 into the blanket when I last counted. But as you can see, all of my colors are rye, and I'm using loops and threads wool-like. The colors are mauve, teal, sage, purple. Mauve, teal, sage, purple, charcoal. Did I name them all? Mauve, teal, sage, purple, charcoal. I'm missing one. And rose. And so, y'all, this blanket feels so good. Like, it feels so good. And I've been using Sandra Paul's modular join as you go technique, which I think is quite fun and clever and smart. And I've been weaving in the ends of my blanket, which is also very therapeutic. But for some reason, of the squares I've been weaving in the ends, but I haven't started weaving in those ends of the back yet. I think the back is pretty too. So, yeah. And I was thinking of another character when I was working this up. You know, look at that. Could that be a thing? A cow? But anyway, I was thinking, you know who this reminds me of with the crochet and the multicolors? Molly Weasley. I think that she would like this. So that's what I'm doing. And yeah, I can't think of anything else to say. It looks like the squares are random, but they're not. And I went against my original plan. I was going to do 150 squares per color. And then I created a diagram in Excel in which the colors kind of created diagonal lines. But then I was on Instagram and someone shared an image. Actually, I can pull up. She had a design in the recent issue of Pom Pom Quarterly. And so I was on her page and she shared, if I can find it. Yeah, made by Kelly O. She shared a picture of the toilet. Yes, this is inspired by the toilet from the Scottish National Gallery of Modern Arts. And this toilet was so inspiring. I don't know if you can see it. If you can't see it, I have an image on my Ravelry page and also on Google. There you could Google an image of the Scottish National Gallery of Modern Art's toilet. And I just love that randomness to the squares. But I was looking at it, they were random, but it looked like a type of order to it, kind of, sort of. I don't know. So I went back to Excel and I kind of played around with rearranging the colors. And I did kind of like, it looks random, but it's not random. I definitely worked. I'm embarrassed to say how long I worked with that color arrangement. But I worked on it, and I'll actually go get it because I forgot to bring the image of it. And I have the diagram also posted on my Ravelry page, but I wanted to share with you how I've been using it. Okay, I may have to cut out that little break. But anyway, so this is the diagram that I created. And if you can look closely, what I've been doing is I refer to it to know which square I should be working into. And then once I add that square to the blanket, then I would just scratch it out with a Sharpie. It's been working. So it's not quite a random project, but it's like an easy project, but it's not so boring that I'm just like zoning out or just getting tired of it or uninspired by it. And so I just really love that joining and also just keeping track of my progress. So as I just work more and more on this over the coming months, that I'm looking forward to scratching out more of those squares. Yeah, so that's the progress of my Battenberg blanket, and I really like it quite a bit. I think this yarn feels so good. It'll be nice as a big shawl. Yeah. I think that is it for the blanket. Let's move into the next work in progress, which I've already started talking about a bit, but it's my Hermione's Everyday Socks. You guys, I'm so happy I went back to the game plan. This is Hedgehog Fibers, Salty Lakes. There's soft yarn, and it's just, oh, yeah. I created the pattern, and I saw that they had, this is a free pattern, as it's a very, very popular pattern on Ravelry. And the cuff was created using, it had 20 rows of ribbon, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, well, you know, but I just went with it. And at first I was looking at it and I thought, oh, that might be kind of too long for the cuff. But I like it. I like it a lot. I tried the sock on and I was like, yes. I was working on this at midnight and everyone was commenting. It was a 12-year-old girl there, and she said she liked that. She was so eloquent too. And she said she liked that it's like a neutral color, yet those little flecks of color, it just really adds to the yarn. And she was like, this is going to match everything. I was like, I know. I was like, I know. They're going to match so many things. And yeah, I think that I could just throw these on, yeah, almost anything. I really like them. And as I've been writing and doing research and pulling sources, I was reading this article. My research, I don't talk about it much, but I'm going to perform a study, which will be a phenomenology study on the museum experience, and specifically how patrons of museums experience objects. And I'll just say it quickly. How patrons of museums experience objects at cultural heritage institutions that document the African diaspora. It feels like such a long thing to say. So as I'm doing research, there was this article which was quite fun and interesting. And it was like, why people touch in museums. As you know, with museums, more museums are trying to get more interactive displays and things like that. But when you go to some museums and galleries and showing some things, you just aren't going to be allowed to touch, and they have these signs posted and policies like don't touch. But this man, he did a study like, why are people touching? And I'm just starting to think it was he found a few emerging things, but people were like, I just wanted to see how it feels. I just want to confirm that touch. I just wanted to caress it, to stroke it. I imagined it felt this way, but I needed to touch it to see. And that's how I felt with these socks. It's like the texture. It's a very simple chart. But I just find myself just touching it. And I just come to the conclusion that we were given these senses by God. And touch is a sense. We are tactile beings. And so, hey, we like to touch. And I love the texture of these socks, and I love these socks. And I've been enjoying these socks so much. I think I will definitely be revisiting this pattern with some modifications, maybe with different cuffs and maybe with more negative ease a bit. And yeah, just doing a different heel, maybe contrasting toes. I could just imagine the possibilities with this yarn. Not yarn, but this pattern. So that is my progress on Hermione's everyday socks. I'm having fun with that a lot. So now we'll get into my next work in progress. I shared with you the yarn from the previous episode, but the book didn't arrive. But then it arrived very quickly. And that's Marie Wallen's Collection 3. I enjoy so many other designs in this book, but I'll show you what I'm making. I'm making the Aster top. And that's also on the cover. Let's see. Sometimes I want to insert pictures of the patterns that I'm working on, but I'm not sure about copyright laws and if I'm supposed to do that. So that's why I usually just show it to you from the book. Until I find out the logistics of that, then I'll share it with you in the book. But that's the top. And as you can see, it has some positive ease, and it has that relaxed feel that I was that I really like with crochet lacy tops. I think it's just quite elegant. But I did my gauge, and when I did my gauge swatch, I had to go down. The suggested needle size was a 2.5. I had to go down to a 2.0 millimeter to get that gauge. But even when I was working at the top, the length across was 18 inches, and I was like, no, that's just too much positive ease. And so I took into account that this size that I'm making is a small and medium, like it's a multi-size size. So I was like, I think that I need to go down even more so to get a better fit. Like, I want that positive ease, but I don't want it to drown me. So then I went down to my hook just fell out. How could it disappear that quickly? I went down to a 1.9 millimeter. Okay, I found it. It was in it fell in my book. No, not a 1.9. Oh, this is so tiny. Okay, a 1.8 millimeter US size 6 hook. And that gave me a really nice fabric, and it took about an inch off the width, and I like that a lot. So I ripped back that. I only did about one pattern repeat, and then I ripped it back. Then I started back over with the smaller hook, and you guys, I'm loving it so much. The yarn is the suggested yarn, which is Rowan Summer Lights 4-ply, and the color is Seashell. The color picture is Wash Linen, and I really like that color so much. It's like it's definitely a natural color. I like all of their natural colors in that line, but it feels like it has a grayish undertone to it. But I was sharing this project with Liz. She's the shop owner at the yarn shop, and she was telling me that they're gonna start carrying rolling yarn. I almost like squealed. I may have squealed a little bit. And so I was telling her about all of the projects I wanted to create with rolling yarn, and quite a few Marie Wallen designs that are on my radar. You know, I think that this is going to be the year of Marie Wallen designs. I want to make at least 3 of her garments this year. I don't know if that's a really big goal, and but I just really like her designs. And considering that I now have 3 of her books, I want to make another design from her other crochet book. Well, I already have plans to make the Aster top and anemone from this book. And I was talking about anemone in the previous episode, but I'll show it to you. And I have the yarn for this, and I'm making it in the exact colorway. So that's definitely going to be the next project after I complete the Aster top. But then I feel like I want to make everything from this book. There's this other design which I'm going to order, the wash linen. Well, if my yarn shop doesn't have the color or the yarn, but I want to make, okay, I'm not trying to get distracted, but I really like this design also, but I feel like I don't have the shoulders to support it. But Karen was giving me suggestions about maybe making smaller motifs in the middle and even tying it up with maybe a single crochet edge or something. And I was like, you know what? That could probably work. That's why I love the little knitting circles, because you get so much advice. And you guys are amazing for the advice. Also, in the previous episode, I think it was the previous episode, Sally, I just want to say thank you. You always have like some of the best advice. And so I'm always taking note so I could use it. Because as I've stated, I'm no expert, and I need to learn, and I want to learn more. Why am I having a hard time showing you the pattern? Okay, that I definitely want to create. And that's this cardigan that incorporates knit and crochet. I think it's really beautiful, and I want to make it in that wash linen color. That is stunning. So that's my progress on the Aster top. And yeah. Okay, so I have another work in progress that I want to share with you. This was not a part of my queue. It was not a part of my plans. It was complete spur of the moment. Yeah, I don't do those that often. But I was at the yarn shop. One day my car was getting serviced, and so they told me that they would have to work on it the whole day. And so it was close to the yarn shop and also the local cafe. So first I spent the entire day at the local Buzz cafe, just creating granny squares. I made so many granny squares in that place, and I just spent the day. I had my breakfast there, I had my lunch there. And so after I left the cafe, then I walked across the street to the yarn shop. And so that was the day that Liz and I was just talking about all the patterns on my radar. Liz is the owner. And then she pulled up Ravelry, and we was just gushing and just loving all of the designs. And she was showing me some designs that were on her radar. And I love to see what other people are doing and thinking about and planning. And I think that's why I have a thread on the Ravelry group, and it's called What's Catching Your Interest. And that's also a segment on the show of What's Catching My Interest, because I want to know these things, because even though I'm constantly on Instagram and on Ravelry trying to see those new patterns, you know, something will emerge that I never saw before. Because I think that what we do is also we kind of place filters on our our feed, kind of, because I'm attracted to certain aesthetics and shapes, then of course that probably pops up more. And so when I want to see other knitters and what they're thinking about, because then it gives me new patterns and diverse options. So Liz and I were talking, and I was telling her that I really like the feel of proper wool, and she was showing me this wool. It was called Lofi yarns. I don't know how to pronounce please chime in if you know. This is Lopi Yarn's bulky yarn. And so they came in just such a gorgeous array of colors. And she actually had just did a gauge swatch that morning. So I was feeling the gauge swatch and I loved the feel of it. It just felt so great. I could just imagine wearing like a sweater in the winter and cold days. You know how I always pull on the Freedom jumper, and I was like, ooh, imagine a pullover in Lopi yarns. And so this yarn, I like that it was chunky. It wasn't chunky, it's bulky weight, but it wasn't as bulky as the yarn from the Freedom jumper. And so we were looking at the recent magazine of Lopi yarns, and first of all, I think the price point for these yarns are really great. They're not very expensive, and they have a really great range of colors. And I just really liked it. So, and also the recent magazine, is this a magazine or issue for their yarn source out? And so I purchased the book. I really like a lot of the yoked sweaters in this book. They're really nice. But of course, you know me, I flock to something that fits my style. And I really like this design. It's really simple, yet it has a crop feel, and I really like it. And I like those puff sleeves also. It's really nice. So I was getting very excited about the project, and I decided to purchase the materials because it only uses 4 balls of yarn. They're getting excited out there, having fun. Anyway, back to the design. So I purchased 4 balls, and I've been really doing well with staying away from always buying green. I'm not saying I'm not going to create green again, but I love quite a few colors, and so why not start incorporating more of those colors? So these are the colors. I love it. I know everyone can't stand the feel of proper wool against their skin, and I would not recommend this for someone who can't, but this is the color that I chose. I think it's called Arctic. And I don't have the most high definition camera, but it has the little hairs that kind of pop up. It gives it, like, you can see it. I love that. It's definitely really, really nice. Feels good. So I purchased the yarn, I purchased the book, and I was like, yes. And so I was so excited. Then I got home, and it was like US 17 and US 15 needles. And when I was in the shop, Liz said, oh, those are some large needles. So I was just like, ugh. I think that those were the size needles that I used for my Freedom jumper, and I didn't like those large needles. So I was just like, what am I going to do? And so I don't have those needles in my stash, and I was thinking about ordering the needles. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, what's your largest needle sizes? And the largest needles I had that were circular were size 11 and 10.5. And so I went with those needle sizes, and then I was like, you know, I did a gauge swatch because I wanted to see, and oh, the yarn, it grows a lot. It grew a lot from the gauge swatch. So I was like, you know, I think that I can get away with going down to those needle sizes, plus it would give me a bit more negative ease. And because the yarn worked up quickly, instead of just going by my gauge swatch alone, I was like, you know, I'm just going to play with creating the body. So yes, I finished the entire body like within a few hours. It works really fast. And I was just like, oh, yeah, that would be nice. And I think it would block nicely. And I tried it on just under my arms, and it fit really good. It fit kind of like my Aiken sweater. And I was like, the body has no shaping, but it still fit really, really nicely. But I was like, you know, because this was not a project that was like, it doesn't have a deadline, and I'm not trying to make it really soon. I put it away, and I like created a page for it on my Ravelry, but I immediately put it into hibernation because I said I'm not going to pick this up until the fall because I have warm weather garments on my mind. And so as I put it away, I started thinking about it. I was like, ooh, what if you stay with those needle sizes but go up to the next size? And the next size is a medium, and it uses 4 balls of yarn. And I was like, yeah, that might give me just a tad bit more positive ease. So I'm going to rip at this body, which is no biggie. It worked up really fast. And I'm going to make the medium size with those smaller needles. I think it's going to work. Yeah, I think so. And so that is from the recent issue of Lobe Yarns magazine. I wish we had more time to create all the things we want to create. They have these patterns called, I don't know. Well, let me first tell you about this yarn. I went to their website because I wanted to learn more about the yarn. And it was quite interesting. The yarn, all of the yarn is used from only the farms in, I think it was Iceland. I'll just pull it up because I was reading. And I thought that that was really nice. And of course the site, I have to find the English version of the site. Of course, I would have a difficult time pulling it up, but I wanted to share with you the details of the yarn. It's so funny because Google is telling me, like, all of these sites I visited about the yarn, like, you visited this site on March 7th. You visited this site on March 6th. But I know that's not the site that I'm looking for. Let's see if this is the one. I think this is it. Yes, the company is in Iceland. And this company recently took over from another company in 1991, and it took over the wool processing. Yes, all of their products are made out of the high quality Icelandic wool. And they buy the wool directly from the farmers in Iceland, then process it into yarn. And the wool scouring is located in the town of, I'm going to butcher that pronunciation, so I'm not going to even try, which is in the north of the country. It's a town in the north of the country. So check out their website. And I also started going to Ravelry to see the patterns and projects created with this yarn. And I saw that Isolde used their other weight for a lovely design. So I really like it. So what do I want to make? Of course, I want to make all the things. When am I going to have time to make all these things? I don't know. But it doesn't hurt to share what I want to make. Maybe if I visit it some months or years down the line, then I could look back in the old episodes and say, hey, I remember mentioning that some years ago. First off, this. That's beautiful. That's made with that bulky weight. And she even had 2 color schemes here. Look at the guy wearing just the 2 colors. That looks great. I like both versions. She also had this section. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, let me know. But these sweaters called Ja and Nay, which means yes and no. And I like that crop sweater the girl is wearing. And I like the color scheme that the guy has. But I like that version. So if I get this, I'm going to go with the blue as the main colorway with the contrast of white, instead of having that white as the main color she has. And I think this is so nice. All of these sweaters are just like perfect for those days that I would just want to be wrapped up in warmth and be cozy. And so I would love to create. I don't know if this is supposed to be a house dress. She's in the house barefoot, but I like this a lot. I would rock that. So yes, as you can see, I like quite a few things in this issue. Oh yeah, that was nice too. Let's see. So yes, that was my spur of the moment work in progress. And it is definitely in hibernation. I plan to rip that body probably tonight. Yeah. I have nothing to share on my Jane Seymour cardigan. Because you all could guess, my time is full with writing and days of work, and by the time I get home, I haven't had the mind to work on it. But after I submit my draft chapters very soon, I think I'm going to submit, I'll be submitting it Monday. Then I'm going to pick up my Jane Seymour cardigan, and I plan to sew like there's nobody's business. So, what am I wearing today? These are 2 items that I created this past summer of 2018. This is my Blaster cardigan by Andy Satterlund. I love it. I love the color. It's just so cheerful. And I really like it paired with this dress. I wear it with a lot of my dresses. But it looks really nice with this dress. I always forget this pattern that I'm wearing. But I can pull it up for you. The dress is McCall 7314. It's a shirt dress, but the buttons don't extend all the way down. So you have this like I shared it in a previous episode. I don't know why I'm going to the details, but as you can see, the buttons are here. You have some darts, and it has an improud waist that I caution that some people aren't a fan of that style of waist. So if you don't like it, then this may not be the pattern for you. But I always like the back a lot because it has elastic back there. I'm starting to think that this would be a really nice dress to travel in. I usually travel in my knit dresses, but this dress is so comfy. Oh my goodness, because of the empire waist and the elastic back, it just has a really relaxed feel, but you still look really put together, and I like that. And yeah, so that's that for the archive treasure for today. I wanted to quickly go through that session because you guys, I've been so inspired, and I want to talk about things that have been catching my interest. There's so many things that have been catching my interest, and as I'm always moaning about, oh, there's not enough time to create and make all the things that I want to create and make. And even if I was able to create and make all the things, I don't even think there's enough days to even wear all the things. But that's not going to stop me from being inspired. So, hey, I've stated that I was just loving the hedgehog fiber selection at the yarn shop. So I went back with the intention of choosing some hedgehog fiber for the Felix mix in the latest issue of Pom Pom Quarterly. And I did purchase it. And I chose this color, which is pollen, and I love it so much. I love golds. Yeah, so I purchased this color. And of course, as I just stated, it was going to be a pair of Felix mix. But then I was like, I kind of wasn't enjoying that last shawl, but I do like shawls. And I don't know if it was the pattern that was kind of boring for me with the 3S shawl, or if it was the shape, because I really prefer, I know that I prefer crescent shaped shawls. And I like the bigger shawls, but if I had the bigger shawl, I would definitely only be wearing it in the house. I don't think that I would wear it out as much because I don't know if they kind of feel quite fussy trying to wrap them around. But crescent shawls, they give you that substantial depth, but it's easily thrown on. So I was looking at this and I was like, I want this to be a crescent shaped shawl. So I was on Ravelry and I found the perfect pattern that I just have to create. I want to pull it up. And it was from a past issue of Pom Pom Quarterly. But, hold on one second. This is the Mountain Moss Shawl by Bev Kling. And was in a previous issue of Pom Pom Quarterly, but you can purchase the pattern for $5.50 as a Ravelry download. And that's a really good price. I'll try to pull it up. If it's not showing up clearly, I queued it. It's number 1 in my queue, or you could just look up the pattern on Ravelry for details. Then what I always do, I'm sure many of you do it also, when you find a pattern that you just love, you go to the author's page to see what else they created. You guys, Beth Kling's designs are gorgeous. They're simply stunning, so elegant. She has so many shawl designs that I want to try. I'm looking at them now, and I'm thinking I want to make yeah, there are already 6 of her designs that I have to make. I've never made a knit shawl because I usually prefer crochet shawls. I don't know, I just find crochet shawls to be quite vintage, have more of a vintage feel. Which I don't know why I think that way, because, you know, lace shawls, knit shawls are vintage also, and they have a good history associated with them, but something about crochet shawls I always flock to. But when I saw her designs, I was like, you know, this is what I'm talking about. Like, these are the shawls that I love. And I think that you all will be seeing more of this designer appearing in my future makes. Her name is Beth Kling. You probably already heard of her. I'm always late to the party, but I think she's amazing. I think her designs are stunning, and I cannot wait to try more of her designs. So that is the pattern that I'm going to use with this yarn, and I'm excited about that project. And then, you know what? I had this top out. I was going to wear it, and I shared this in a previous episode, and this is the Frenchie Blouse by Amy Apple, right? And then the yarn was next to it, and I was like, whoa, look at that match. That's like a really nice match. And then I said, if I make the shawl, then I've stated that a million times before, but I'm cold nature, and I really don't like scoop nets or square nets, even though I think they look really nice, but I get so cold and I get the air in my chest. But I was like, if I make this little shawlette, then I could start wearing it with this blouse and not get that air in my chest. Yes, it is very matchy, but hey, I don't know. I think it'll work. Plus, I think that this color works with a lot of things. I'm going to definitely wear with my black and white striped tops. You know, my Agnes tops have that scoop net, so I'm going to be throwing it over those tops. And yeah, hopefully this will be the shawl that I wear more, because I have a tendency to forget about my shawls. I have been talking so much, but let's move into my next thing that has been catching my interest. And I've been having summer on my mind, and when I think about the summer, I think about summer dresses that I want to make with floral prints and all of the things. Hold on. So with Joy, that's so.with.joy on Instagram, created a beautiful dress out of Rifle Paper Company's English garden line. Just letting the ambulance go on. I pray that everything is okay. Okay, so she made a dress from the English garden line, and it was a fabric that I didn't purchase from the English garden line. I purchased 3 fabrics from that line. I purchased that Juliet Rose, which I made the felt dress that I gave to my niece, and I made the blouse from that print, and then I made a McCall shirt dress with the other print. And I actually purchased, this was the 3rd meadow. I don't want to take them out of the packages because they're packaged so neatly, but this was the pink version of that meadow print that I made the other dress out of. And so I have 4 yards of this. The reason I haven't started it yet is that even though they came out with the English garden line in the fall, yeah, in the colder months, I felt that this color just it's really summery. I mean, I'm sure that when I make a dress, I'm going to still wear it with cardigans and layer pieces with it, even in the colder months, but it just screamed warmer months. So, you know, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to make anything with this right now, and I put it down, and I have 4 yards of this. So, that was from the English Garden line that I haven't used yet. But then they introduced their Wildwood collection this past Monday. I didn't know. I was, you know, working on my chapters for the entire day, and then so when I finally got home that evening and I was writing it down, then I was like, oh, the collection came out, you know. And yeah, as I was saying, so with Joy, when she created a dress from the English Garden line, I was telling her that she was really tempting me to purchase that fabric because it was one that I passed up. But she said, just wait, because they're going to be coming out with the new fabric line soon. And that was a few weeks ago. And sure enough, they came out with the new fabric line. And I saw a sneak peek of one of the fabric choices a few days before the release. And it was like a novelty print with rabbits on the fabric, and also squirrels, I think. And it had a green background. Come on, you guys. And I knew immediately I wanted that. So this is that fabric. And I just loved it so much. And I went to the site that evening, and already one of the fabric choices that I thought was really nice from the Fable collection, it was sold out. Yeah, they go so quickly. So, but I was really happy because this was my first choice from the Fable colorway that I wanted, which was the green. And I really like they have this kind of black and white version that I have my eye on, but it's not a priority. I only purchased 3 yards because, as I've stated in the past, whenever I work with novelty prints, especially those featuring animals, I don't like to cut into their little faces, and I wanted to the pattern to be uninterrupted is what I'm trying to say. And so I was thinking of something similar to Simplicity 2444, or that Cynthia Rowley Simplicity dress I've made in the past, which is created, the shaping is done in the bodice with darts, but you don't use princess seams, or you don't cut into it like a shirt dress in which I would have to match patterns. And so I only purchased 3 yards because I was like, oh, Simplicity 2444, if I go to that doesn't use that much yardage. But then I was like, oh, I made a mistake because this is a one-way fabric. So I should have purchased more. I don't think this is enough fabric. We shall see. Maybe sometime next week. I will not start this dress next week. Look, I'm already making plans to start this dress. And I know that I said I wasn't going to sew anything until I finish my jeans. So when I start this dress, then I'll play around with the direction of it, and I hope it's enough. But if not, I may have to make some other choices or decisions. And I was thinking about Simplicity 2444, but then I went in my stash, and I also really like this, which I don't think that I have enough, unless I shorten the dress. But I like that bodice. But I do think maybe that sash from this Butterick 6318, it might take away from the rabbits or the animals on the fabric. So I don't know. That's something I was thinking about. I was thinking about this McCall 7351 for that pink meadow fabric. And I've also been thinking about this McCall 7892. I'm attending that wedding. You know, I said that it wasn't set in stone, and I think that'd be nice to wear to the wedding. Using, this is the other fabric that I have, but I don't think this is enough fabric for that dress. But this is the other fabric, and I love florals that have backgrounds of blue. Rifle Paper Company does it so well, and it's really hard to find those types of floral prints. So I purchased 3 yards of this. So again, I don't know if this is enough, but I was thinking about Tilly Sewing Serene, I don't know, dress, and I have 3 yards, and the knee length version of the dress requires 2.5 yards. Well, no, that's on 60-inch fabric, and this fabric's length is 45 inches. But I still think that it'll be enough because that skirt is not very full on this. And look at Alex on the back. She has a Her channel was called So Happy Alex, but I think she changed the name to Alexandra Bruce. And yeah, so I'm thinking about that with this floral print. I pulled out like all of my patterns for dresses. This was another option I was thinking about for the floral print. This is a vintage pattern I have, and I really like that center version. That it's like a shirt dress without a collar, and I like that a lot. Again, I don't know if I have enough fabric. I may have to shorten the dress or make some adjustments to the skirt. I really like this pattern from the recent McCall Spring Line 789, and it doesn't use that much fabric. And I'm thinking that could work for the floral print. I know that will work, and I really like that placebo. I think I'm kind of flocking to that one the most, because I do have that 4 yards of that pink metal for the patterns that require that higher yardage. You've seen this pattern too many times before, but I still pull it out in case there's someone new. Simplicity 2444, which I'm thinking about for, well, not thinking about, I would like to use it for the fabric with the animals, the Fable print, but I just don't know if I have enough. And finally, I pulled this out because I was thinking about this as a summer dress. I'm not sure if I want to use any of my Ravelry Paper Company fabrics with this pattern. So we'll see. I do know that I want to test out the patterns on fabric that's definitely that I don't value as much before I cut into these, because I made a mistake with like with this. If I use Simplicity 2444, I can immediately start it because I know that pattern fits nicely. But those new dress patterns, I'm going to have to test them out on something, on fabric that I don't value as much in order to see the fit, because I don't want to make a mistake and sew something that I just don't like. I know I should do a muslin, but I think that whenever I do it on a cheaper fabric, it's a type of muslin, right? Because I'm making adjustments, but I can still wear it. A wearable muslin. So that is it for today's episode. I feel like I talked quite a bit. But again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to hear all about my crafting. So I hope you enjoy your day and that you may spend it doing what you love to do. And I'll see you all later. Bye.